Hi guys, it's me Chrissy and I'm here with my books 11 to 15 of 2017 wrap up. And it took me a while to get to here because of one of the books, but I will get on to that later. So book 11 was George R. R. Martin and Lisa Tuttle's Windhaven. This is sort of a leftover from Fantasy February, and this takes place on a fictional island or islands, and it's like sci-fi but somewhat regressed. It's like sci-fi fantasy. So it's a story about these star sailors, and their sails have a special sort of material to it that crashed on these islands, and the only way for all of these sailors to communicate with one another, because there were monsters in the sea in this world, was to fly from island to island. And so they constructed these wings out of the special material. There we go. Out of these special material, and so they could talk to one another, send messages, and there's their own community. I really enjoyed the world building here. It's just one book. It's not like a series or anything. And apparently this was made before Game of Thrones. And it's really good because it's about this one girl who's a flyer, and she's not born in a flyer family because the flyer families pass their wings down to their children, and sometimes those children aren't as good flyers, and so they end up plummeting into the sea, and then the wings are lost forever because you can't recreate this kind of material. So it's 3 stories in one book about her wanting to be a flyer, changing the rules, and then the second story is about her being a flyer and then teaching a school, and then the last story is her as an old woman trying to find justice for flyers. So it's so good, and I really did enjoy this book. And if you guys ever find it anywhere, I really suggest you read it if you wanna sort of have a taste of George R. R. Martin's sort of earlier works, and just a really nice sort of one-shot fantasy book. After that, I picked up Masked City by Genevieve Cogman. I got this in January and I couldn't not read it, even though it was really March and I was supposed to read mysteries. But this is, this year is about following my plan, but at the same time I'm not gonna keep too strict of a rule on what I want to read. So Masked City, I just noticed that the main character's name is Irene, and she likes detective stories. And if you've read Sherlock, his only woman sort of nemesis is Irene Adler. So I might be a bit late to this party, but I just kind of noticed that, and I found it very interesting. And like how she's friends with a Sherlock like character in the world she is assigned to. And so in this one, Kai, her student, gets kidnapped, and so she has to seek help from his dad or uncle, and she travels to the world of the Fae to go get him back. And I liked it more because it had a more sort of magical element, and at the same time got to explore her world more, or the worlds more, like how humans and fairies and dragons all exist in the same like entire universe, but at the same time everyone has their own like dimension thing. It was really good, and I can't wait to read the next book. And then after that, because I'm already on season 2 of The Magician, so I was like, well, the first book and the first season were only in sync up to like episode 3 or 4, and then after that I just sort of really veered off course, but just followed vaguely along the same plot. So I was wondering if they were gonna do that for book 2, and that is The Magician King by Grossman. And this one, yes, this was very good. He has a line, Quentin has a line in this book saying, when you like try something new, it's not like you expect things to be hard, but it's what you don't expect that makes you know, things even harder or something like that. And in that quote, it was definitely like a good summary for this whole book and for his experiences in this book. And this one is about Julia, how she learned magic and how she came to Fillory. And it's a lot darker than what Quentin had to go through, and I really came out of this sort of respecting Julia a lot more and everything she's been through and everything, you know, she's done to get where she has to be. And yeah, I just really like this one so much better. And it's all I can say because I actually read this a while ago. Yeah, that's it. So, Magician King. I'm still looking for the third book. I can't find it. And then after that, because it's Mystery March, so I finally decided to pick up a mystery. And that is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. So, everyone is like, oh, it's... I remember when this movie came out, people were like, oh, it's like Gone Girl, or it's the new Gone Girl. But I watched the Gone Girl movie, and then I watched the Girl on the Train movie before I read the book. I don't really care about that sometimes, if I watch the movie first before reading the book. So the moment I watched The Girl on the Train, I was like, in my opinion, Gone Girl was better. So I think it would be better for me to read what was considered less better and then get to Gone Girl, so that I won't have that thing of going on a high and then being disappointed. You know, I might as well just go from the low to the high. Not that I'm saying that she's a bad writer or that it's a bad book. I'm just saying that for a mystery, I don't like how she was drunk most of the time, and so it frustrated me with reading that, because I'm just like, you know, you have all these blackouts, and yes, you're going through problems, and it turns out your husband was like, you know, not really a good guy, and your whole neighborhood were not good people. But like, it's just, it was very frustrating, and I ended up like, for more than half of the book, I was like, I want to put you down, but I want to read you so I can just finish you, let me just like get this over with. And then by the second half of the book, I started to speed through it a lot faster. But that was mostly just because I really only enjoyed Megan's point of view. This book has three perspectives of the girls, Anna, Rachel, and Megan. And I definitely liked Megan, kinda liked Anna, and I was frustrated with Rachel. Except for the ending. And other than that, it was okay. And finally, the last book that I read is The Adventures and Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. I knew that this was pretty much every case was a short story. So I thought, okay, I might just fly through this. But I ended up getting like, what's the word? It felt draggy to me after a while, because I had to get used to a new story, a new mystery with every story, and so I just wanted to have that time where I could just like, because I'm so used to reading like novels and the longer books, so I was like, I just want to sit down and read like a whole story through, and not all these little short stories, because for me that actually made the book feel longer, not shorter. But that's just me, because I'm not used to short stories. But like, wow, Sherlock is amazing. And I know this isn't the first book, or it's not in a proper order, but I really did like seeing, you know, where all the hype comes from, like Sherlock, the TV show, and then you have Sherlock Holmes, the movies with Robert Downey Jr., and all the other, and Elementary. You know, he only ever says Elementary once, and then suddenly we have a show. And then I'm pretty sure he only says the game is afoot once, and then other people always like refer to that. But you can really see like where the original comes from, and then because it's so simple, but it's so present that it's easy to see how people just like take some parts and then adapt it, but there's nothing like the original. And so I can definitely see that with this book. And you know, I think as a starter for crime fiction or whatever, Sherlock Holmes is actually easy to read because it was like late 1890s, so it's not with all the like really hard words or whatever. So that's it. I really did like this. But yeah, that's it. This is 2017 wrap up, books 11 to 15. So thank you guys for watching. Have you read any of these? Let me know. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!